The state may rest its case as early as Monday in the Derek Chauvin trial. Day 10 wrapped Friday with key testimony from the medical examiner who conducted George Floyd's autopsy. Dr. Andrew Baker told jurors while heart disease and drugs played a role in Floyd's death, his May 2020 interaction with the police is ultimately what killed him. Chauvin is facing murder and manslaughter charges. He faces up to 40 years in prison if convicted. For more on this, I'm joined by Joe Barrett. He is a senior Midwest correspondent for the Wall Street Journal. Great to have you with us, Joe. So Floyd's health and drug use is something that we've seen Chauvin's attorney try to argue multiple times as the reason why he died. How damaging was Dr. Baker's testimony to the defense's case then?
Well, I think it's important to say that much of what the medical examiner had to say fell in line with what the prosecution has been arguing, which is that it was the police and their actions that led to his death. He acknowledged that he had a heart condition and he'd taken drugs, but the real reason why Mr. Floyd ended up dead was because there were 3 police officers on top of him.
What were some of the other key moments from the second week of proceedings? Certainly, I think that debate about his health, but ultimately concluding that it was then Officer Chauvin's knee that contributed to his, not contributed, but was the cause of his death was a key component of it. But what else really stood out for you?
Yeah, it was sort of the heart of the prosecution's case. Was what we heard this week, starting with Chief Arredondo of the Minneapolis Police Department saying that what the officers did was not in line with the department's policies. And you heard from police trainers kind of saying the same thing. You heard from the detectives from the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension going over the work that they did in reviewing the case, and then we got into the medical testimony. The prosecution really tried to lay the foundation for what the medical examiner had to say. They talked about the levels of drugs that were in Mr. Floyd's body. The methamphetamine apparently was a very low dose. The amount of fentanyl that he had in his blood actually matches up with what some people would get arrested for when they're drunk driving. So obviously those people survived the level of fentanyl that he had in his system. So, there was quite a bit of testimony sort of not really building up toward the medical examiner because I think the prosecution always knew he was going to be a little bit problematic, but they tried to lay a foundation so that you would understand what he had to say better when he finally got in and talked about it.
Joe, I want to dig deeper into what you were saying about the testimony from other police officers, both within the Minneapolis Police Department and from other police departments across the country, because typically in cases similar to this, there's been understood to be a blue wall, which is police officers having the back of other police officers. Are we seeing a shift with this testimony, or is it that this particular case was so egregious?
Yeah, I think that there's sort of a national shift around this kind of issue. And of course, police themselves would say that there is no such thing as a blue wall. But here you had 4 officers all very quickly, rounded up and questioned and kind of testifying against each other, essentially, even though they weren't yet charged, but they all were fired. And so, you've just got an incident where I think, many law enforcement officers just really don't want what happened that day to be seen as how police deal with suspects. So I think just the video and what everyone has seen is an instance where police kind of don't want to be identified with that, and so it's a special case, but it's also one of these many cases that we've had over the last few years that have been widely seen and shared, and and I think that to a certain extent the at least the higher ups are going to have to be more responsive to what the public is perceiving when they see this kind of thing, and so that's why you'll see so many police chiefs and others kind of turning against their officers when they see this kind of thing in the public.
And while the prosecution, by almost all accounts, has been very persuasive in the testimony and the witnesses that they've called so far, there's still the trial's far from over. There's a chance that that Chauvin could be acquitted at the end of this trial. If that were to happen, Joe, continuing on this idea of the impact, the ripple effects that we're seeing from this case, what do you think his acquittal might mean for the future of policing, police reforms around this country, and this fight for racial justice?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of worry about what an acquittal would mean. I mean, the city of Minneapolis itself is ready for. I mean, they're prepared to try to prevent the massive rioting that people assume would happen if he is acquitted. That there could be more protests around the country. I mean, it would be somewhat of a dire scenario, I think, for the country or for reform. I think we probably all kind of have to see that as a step backwards. I mean, he needs a fair trial, and I think he's getting one. He's got a very good defense lawyer. He's going to try to do everything that he can to poke holes in the prosecution case. But unless, he's so persuasive that he changes the minds of a lot of people who've seen that video, it'll be quite an upsetting event, I think, for the country if we end up with an acquittal. I think
Joe, very quickly before. Sorry, just very quickly before I have to leave you, we're looking at week 3 of the trial. What do you expect the witnesses that we're going to hear from might say, particularly as the defense now starts to build its case?
Yeah, well, the defense will call its own experts who will say that, okay, the prosecution has said that as soon as he stopped moving, or, he should have never really been in that prone position for so long. There'll be other experts who can say that, the crowd was affecting them. The time passed really quickly. They had already called the police. They'd already called for help twice. And there may be people out there who are going to testify that they were acting reasonably. There'll also be more discussion of the drugs in his system and whether those were really a fatal amount, and some other explanations for the mechanism for how he died. So the defense will put on a defense, and we'll have to see how successful it is.
All right, Joe Barrett, thank you.
Thanks for having me.